This week on the Steam Machine Podcast,
he's got a rod loaded up and chumming. He's gonna go and catch what can't be caught.
Cue music! Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week, one half of the Destructo.
Hey, what's up? It's Willie. I've been fishing in video game form.
Sir, I am proud of that intro. I came up with that just then. So I'm proud of that off the dome. Right off the bat, I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Mikolov has stepped away from the show, and we wish him the best of luck on his future endeavors, and he wants to dedicate more time to his YouTube channel and things like that, which no blame or shame there, my good sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Check out Team Retrogue. He's still doing a lot of reviews of the various electronic goods and, you know, having a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed his April 1st content with some really good stuff.
Oh, yeah, man. His exclusive Team Retrogue Dave the Diver DLC.
Yeah.
Fucking looked awesome. And I just want to say, and I pointed this out in the chat, the animated thing, the pixel thing of Nefarious was cool, but the animated picture of Mikolov that was used for the original thing that he posted also looked like he could have taken that and superimposed it into a Grand Theft Auto loading screen, and it would have worked perfectly because of the shading and just the way that it was animated. I was like, that is Grand Theft Auto Mikolov. He's going to give me a job to go rob a bank.
Mikolov, my cousin.
Mikolov, would you like to go bowling? Mikolov, I found a shipment of handhelds. They're coming in from Slovakia. I think if we get over there quick enough. Yes, cousin. And Mikolov's just like, who are you? God, that would be fucking great. Somebody get on that. Who's a 3D editor or a modder? Maybe I'll try to recreate it in GTA 5 cinematic mode if I could ever figure out how to use director mode or whatever that shit is. I've seen some people make ridiculous things in that, but I never quite figured it out.
One of these days, you're going to start making your own weird little machinima cartoons. You'll be the next Red versus Blue.
Oh, man. How you been doing, brother? What you been playing? What you been up to?
Oh, man. I've been working on a couple things behind the scenes that I don't think I can actually bring up yet in the show, but been doing a lot more programming-related stuff in general. Like, you know, that card game I talked about last week on the show, I made a little version of it in Python that can be fully played, so that was kind of neat.
Nice.
Let's see. Been messing around with idle games a lot, because that's also something that I can put on in the background and check in very infrequently while I'm working on other stuff on other windows. Man, I've been doing really good health-wise, man. I had to check in with a doctor earlier today, and like my blood pressure and pulse and everything are way better than usual, so I guess I'm doing something right, just trying to get my sleep schedule back in order and exercise regularly. So that's all going really good. I'm very happy about that. Good,
man. I'm proud of you for doing that and getting out, you know, trying to get things in check and stuff. Like, I know, like, my ass needs to go to the doctor for sure, but I'll fit that in eventually.
It's one of those things where you got to kind of take care of everything. You know, you take care of your body, helps take care of your mind and all that. And I found just going for more walks has really helped me because it gives me a little chance to, you know, clear my brain out. On the other hand, I've had some stuff that's not been going so well. We had some severe weather throughout here recently, and I went for a walk on this weekend. I think it was Sunday. It must have been Sunday. It was a recent day. And what I didn't realize was it was about to be very severe weather because it looked clean outside, and I wasn't really paying attention to what all was going on. Go outside, start walking, get about 2 minutes away from my house, tornado siren. And then all of a sudden the rain goes from like a little drip drop, to all of a sudden just completely coming down in sheets, like blowing sideways into my lungs, into my eyes. I can't see anything. Things are blowing around. Like I see metal flagpoles at a diagonal angle on the other side of the street as far as I can see anything. I get back to my house because I only had walked about 2 feet away, or 2 minutes away total. I get back and the tree that I'd walked under on the way out had completely collapsed onto the path I'd walked under a minute ago. So I was about 2 minutes on either side of getting crushed by that tree. It was crazy. I got back in and just kind of sat down there and just kind of dripped on the floor for a while, letting,
Yeah, I get that.
Try not to think too hard about everything that had just happened. Because, like, I was completely oblivious. I had no idea anything bad was coming. I was just like, it looks like it might rain. Doop-de-doop-de-doo.
Gabriel? Okay, I got 6 more. I can get home.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I decided to turn around earlier, because if I'd kept going for a little while longer, who knows? I mean, nobody was actually injured during that storm, but there was a tornado touchdown in my zip code. And in addition to that tree, the roof of the garage of the house behind me was completely taken off. So there was a lot of wind damage just in my area alone. Another tree got blown down onto a power line, which is leaning there. And I'm really shocked we didn't lose power. That tree was still laying on the power line until earlier today.
That's always scary too.
Yeah, it was up because that's why I haven't been going for as many walks since then either, because it was laying. So the tree is in a front yard and leaning on the power lines and then laying across the sidewalk as well. So I'm like, I'm not going any further past there. I'm not going to try to pass that because I don't know what that's going to do. And then it was still like in the ground by a couple roots, but most of it had been uprooted. It was crazy looking. I think it just lucky it went forward onto the lines instead of backwards onto the house it was in front of.
This is completely different in a way, but like, so right near my house is a Goldhead State Park. It's like a big, it might be a national park, but it's not national park, but it's it's a state park. But it's a big one. In one of the hiking, I don't remember where it's at because there's a lot, but in one of the hiking trails, there is a tree that had fallen over like years ago. And it got blown over. It was maybe one of the big ass hurricanes that came through during the 90s that I don't remember the names of. Anyway, its entire root structure got ripped out of the ground when it fell. Mm-hmm. So there is like, dude, it's a good 16 to 18 feet tall. Just this massive root structure thing that's just there still. Now, it could have decayed more since I've been there 10 years, 15 years ago now, but at the time, it was still like solid wood roots just chilling, and it was just in awe to look at. I can only imagine seeing a redwood that falls over if the roots were to come up, because that would be insane tall.
Oh, yeah.
They're already massive.
Let's see, what else happened this week? Oh, and then a couple days later, I was eating popcorn and my dental crown came out, even though I wasn't chewing on that part of my mouth, and I wasn't doing anything stupid like crunching the unpopped kernels on the teeth. Like, I quit doing that because it's how I broke that tooth and needed the crown in the first place. And so it's funny that eating popcorn again got that crown off. So
it's always the smallest thing. Like the molar, my very back molar back here is literally broken in half right now. Because I was eating a Mike and Ike. Man,
yeah. I definitely remember my grandma lost like 3 crowns at once to a starburst once back in the day. Just sometimes like, the little bitty sticky foods can be vicious.
Yeah. I ate a Tums one time and broke a tooth. Like, it's just like, it's fucking rough.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just, that was unfortunate. And let's see, what else did I have? I feel like there was like one other thing. I just had some stomach issues for the last couple of days, but they've been getting better too. So everything's good now. I'm completely fine now, except I do need to get this crown put back in at some point.
Yeah.
Probably ought to have called the dentist by now. I'll do that next week. I'm sure they can put a temporary on or something.
Oh yeah, that's not too hard. That's like, I need to go get this tooth checked out, but it doesn't hurt. So I'm like, yeah, I'll be all right for now, even though it's eventually going to get worse. I just know.
Yeah, don't be too stubborn about it, man. Just you got to take care of it. I mean, I'm not going to nag you about it, but if it gets worse, it's going to suck more to get rid of than,
Yeah, no, I get you.
Let's see. Do I have anything else that I actually feel like I can? Man, I feel like there was like something like small and gamey that I could talk about, and Oh, we do have the Nintendo Switch Direct. The Switch 2 Direct was this week, so. There's some interesting stuff there. I don't know if you wanted to save that for after, you talk about you catching up or whatever, though.
Yeah, we can do that if you want. Let me get a...
Yeah, so what you got for this week, then? Or these 2 weeks? You started some work and all that, but I don't know if that's something you wanted to bring up on the show or not.
So it's been a hell of a week, right? So I went through my orientation. Everything went smooth. I finished all the computer stuff quick because this is not my first fucking... retail job. So a lot of it is just rehashed stuff that I know. Like, what does this symbol mean? Oh, this means corrosive. Like, what? Like, oh, what do you do in this situation? Well, you don't tell the customer to go fuck themselves. You know, like that kind of stuff.
How many TVs should you steal from us a week? Less than 2.
So I go home. I'm super stoked. I'm like, all right, tomorrow, 9 to 3, my first day, getting some training on the actual floor. Let's do this. I wake up. There's a knock at my door at like 6:30. A frantic knock. And the door opens up. Dalton, what are you doing? Sleeping? Don't you have to be to work? Yeah, at 9 o'clock. I thought you said you'd be in at 7. Dude, that is not until like next week. Oh, my bad. Door shuts. And I'm like, all right. So from then on, I had alarm anxiety.
Yep.
Could not fall back asleep because I was just waiting for my alarm to go off. So I wake up, have the nervous stomach, go in the bathroom, make myself throw up. I'm feeling fine. So I go into work, got my Walmart vest on, got the little badge on, go walking back towards electronics, and I see some customers kind of walking around back there. Obviously, I can tell that they're looking for someone to talk to. And I'm like, all right, let me walk past them because I have no answers for them at the moment. And I find a lady eventually who starts helping somebody in electronics. And I went up to her. I said, excuse me, ma'am, I don't mean to interrupt. I said, my name is Dalton. Today's my first day. Do you know where Miss Christine is at? Because she's supposed to be training me. Christine called out today. Oh, well then do you happen to know what I'm supposed to be doing? She's like, let me help this customer and we'll figure it out. So I end up telling her that I had some more computer stuff to do, which I did. And she's like, okay, well, you go do that and I'll figure out what you're supposed to do. Okay, fair deal. So I go start doing my computer stuff. She comes back in there and says, well, there's no one to train you for electronics, but if you want to train on the register, you can go up front and talk to somebody and work up front. And I'm immediately like, oh, that's going to suck. Okay, thank you. So keep doing my computer stuff. I have my tea, like I have right here, Lipton green tea with mixed berry, and I'm sipping on it. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through my computer stuff, and all of a sudden, like, you know when you get that feeling where all of a sudden it's like your stomach just goes, and you're like, something bad is about to happen in one end or the other.
Yeah.
And I felt it start rising, and I'm like, okay. So I stood up, and I just started quickly walking to the bathroom because it wasn't far. Get in there, door opens up, there's nobody in there. Thank goodness. I run into the stall, trying to shut the door. Because their doors aren't ever fucking lined up perfectly. I'm trying to get it and fiddling with the thing to shut. Can I go into my mouth and I'm holding it. And at that point I'm like, dude, please just let me get this door shut. I get the door shut and my body goes, it's shut, and just onto the stall wall. And I'm like, God damn. So I run over to the toilet, cover the toilet because at this point it's coming out at a force that I have no control over.
Yeah, the projectile stuff. Disgusting.
And, ended up having to get closer to a public toilet than I wanted to so I could not make as much of a mess. Anyway, this handicap stall, because Walmart is eco-friendly, only has a hand dryer for the air ones. No paper towels. So I had to use the really thin, and I mean thin, like thickness-wise and width-wise toilet paper of Walmart. I had to keep balling it up and go over and clean it up. No one came into the bathroom this entire time, though.
That's good.
Thank God, because like I just didn't want anybody to see this happening because it's my first day and I'm pouring sweat. My eyes are leaking water. Like, so I clean myself up in the sink and I splash my face and I kind of sit there and, oh, okay. And I go back and I finish my computer stuff and the lady comes to find me and she looks at me and she goes, oh, you don't look so hot. And I was like, yeah, I just started feeling really bad for some reason. She was like, well, since there's no one here to train you in your department, why don't you go home and rest and come back tomorrow? I was like, okay. Well, I did not get better. I got worse as the night progressed, so I called out the next day. So I go back in Tuesday, so we'll see how that goes. we'll see what's going on. Hopefully, everybody can just take a mulligan because we all fucked up on day one.
Yeah, it's just...
If not, to quote Ricky's dad from Trailer Park Boys, it's the fucking way she goes, bud. It's the way of the road. It's like, you gambled all of our fucking money away. That's the fucking way she goes, bud. It's the way the road takes you. Well, fuck the road. Yeah. So there's that. But I have been doing some things that are much more pleasant than that.
I can only imagine that maybe like hitting yourself repeatedly in the balls with a little tack hammer.
I'm about 40 hours or so into Octopath 2.
Damn, not bad.
Really, really enjoying that so far. I'm going through and seeing everybody's second chapters.
Don't give away the cow, man. We got the episode still coming.
Oh, I'm not. That's where I'm at in the game. Let's see. What else have I got? Speaking of idle games, I got like one achievement left to get in Firestone. It's going to take me forever.
Oh, yeah. I did notice you were back on the Firestone. At least I saw it on your Discord status.
Yeah, I typically just leave that running in the background because it doesn't take a lot to run.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen it in a while, and I noticed it again recently. So I was like, maybe he's working on something. I
had been having some computer issues the past few days, so I hadn't been running it because I was trying to figure out why suddenly my monitors just started displaying nothing but HDR. Would not let me turn HDR off.
Huh.
And while my monitors are graded for HDR, they're not OLED, and their HDR is not great. Their standard definition to my eyes is better than their HDR. The HDR makes things too dark. They don't have local brightening or something like that. That's something that like really helps make darks pop, but you can still see. Anyways, yada yada. Long story short, I took a whole day figuring that out to figure out that I ended up just running an HDMI cable instead of a DisplayPort cable, and that allowed me to switch HDR off. I don't know why.
Computers is weird, dude.
Before that, I was trying to see if I could. Again, I spent a day trying to solve the Cyberpunk crashing with all the ray tracing and stuff enabled. I can add a new game to that list. Control. Luckily, the GOG version hasn't gotten the new update yet for the graphical update and all that. It's still the older version of Control. But the Control on Steam got an update that added in like basically the new NVIDIA stuff that came with the new 50 series cards, DLSS4 and things like that. It's the same thing that Cyberpunk did. The same style of update to everything going on when they released Phantom Liberty. The issue I'm running into is that I get into the games and I play for 30 seconds to a minute and it locks up whenever ray tracing is enabled. Now, my system's pretty fucking powerful. No, you can. I can turn ray tracing off and then everything runs fine. The point is, ray tracing was working perfectly and now it's crashing my computer. Like, Cyberpunk will just crash to desktop and I can submit an error report. Control locks my computer like Black Myth Wukong does. And I have to physically turn it off with the computer button and then boot up again. No idea what it is. So been trying to figure that out. To no avail so far. Seems to be a problem on the NVIDIA side of things. But with them having their 50 cards out now, I doubt that they're going to put much effort into releasing a patch driver for a 40 card. We'll see though. Been playing some 2 Point Museum. That game is fucking awesome.
Yeah, you've been sending a lot of screenshots lately, and it looks like a lot of fun. Like, just there's a lot more to it than I would have expected from just the idea of museum park tycoon type of game. I didn't realize how much variety there was in just the idea of museums.
Yeah, I didn't really either until I was like getting into the game itself, and I'd seen some of the trailers and stuff. And yeah, you've got your normal museum area with a bunch of different areas to go explore and get exhibits from. Then you've got marine life museum, so it's like a big aquarium that you can make. And then the next one that I haven't gotten to yet is the haunted museum with the spooky stuff.
Yeah, that looked really cool in the announced trailer. That looked like really interesting. So
I love the whimsicalness of the 2 Point series. It reminds me of back when The Sims didn't take itself quite so seriously. But just like I sent you the screenshot of the bull shark that literally is a shark, but it has the face of a bull, or the the lionfish has a head of a lion. It's tremendous. I love it, dude. It's been a good time. Just as something to play once I've put in some time into the games for the show. There's been a few other things. Let me pull up here. On GOG, it hasn't come out on Steam yet, but it's out on GOG. Croc, The Legend of the Gobos. One of my favorite 3D platformers from the PlayStation 1 got a remaster, and it released on GOG, and I bought it day 2 because I didn't realize it had come out. But it came with the remaster and the original game.
Okay, and so what's Croc up to?
Yeah, dude, it's really a nice remaster. It plays nice. It's like it plays smoothly how I hoped the updated controls for Tomb Raider would have been, if you can kind of make that comparison in your mind. Like when I tell him to run and do stuff, he runs and does it. Like the camera isn't wonky. Like they did a really nice job with this remaster. Because that's one of the things I remember back in the day in the older game was the camera could be tricky, but that was just limitations of the time.
Yeah, early 3D platformers all basically had either a really garbage camera or a really fixed camera. That was it. Those are your two choices.
And I looked at how many levels does this game have? And I don't remember how many there were, but there were way more than I remember. So apparently, as a kid, I think I played the first few levels of this game a lot and then never really got any farther than that. I would assume. But yeah, I'm super stoked to be playing that. Like it's been a good time and it looks crisp. Like they didn't overdo it, but they definitely cleaned everything up and it looks nice. Just shout out if anyone liked that game as a kid, or you're just a fan of 3D platformers, Nate, definitely give it a shot. Even wishlist it to see when it's on sale, but I would say it's worth the money that I paid for it, which I think is $29.99. And so I think that's a fair price for a remaster. $30.
Yeah, that seems right.
But yeah, other than that, messing around Grand Theft Auto Online. Oh, been playing some Madden.
Oh, yeah. You showed me your custom team, which seems to be a lot of fun, considering you have everyone goosed to being, 7 foot tall, 400-pound steroid goblins?
Yeah, so everyone except the people who are us. So, when I did the Jaguars, I made everyone that way. But when I downloaded the Steam Machine backlogs, the TSMP backlogs, excuse me, and we hail from the media dump. We are a custom team that you can do in Team Builder, because it was I think one of the times when last I was talking about it, the Team Builder was bonked and wasn't letting me download anything. Well, since then, because this show has just a magical touch to it, they fixed it. So I was able to download the team. So there's me, I'm the quarterback. Then you are my running back. Nate is one of my head linebackers.
He's, I think, the left outside linebacker.
Yes. Mikolov, the Dankest. I basically just went through our Discord and people who were always active, I made them people. They're all in there. Adam's name, I think, is Adam Extinction, which I think is a cool ass name.
That's sick, yeah. And that's just got some comic book energy to it for sure.
One of my top performing defensive players is Dave Graveyard Duck. That motherfucker can sack. Dave is constantly sacking the quarterback on the opposing team. You've seen it. You've seen where that team had negative 17 yards that game.
Yeah.
It's not. But listen, I run blitzes every play.
It's fun. Kill the quarterback all day.
But I'm always blitzing. Always be blitzing. ABB, AB.
Forget about Donner and Dancer. This is blitzing.
It's hell yeah. Hell yeah. You have broken some records. Most combined touchdowns in a season, and I think we're in game 4 or 5.
I know I broke the NFL record for single game rushing yard my very first game.
Yeah, you broke.
It was 309 or something.
Yeah, and when I ended up, I had to do it again, and I think you beat it with, I think it was 316 that you got that
nice.
Next time. You got, I think, rushing yards total for a season. The Dankest has most receptions. He's got some sort of yardage record too. I've got most thrown touchdowns in a game, passing yards, yada yada yada. Because the Dankest, he's just fast as fuck, and he just bails past whoever is fucking blocking him, and I always just send him straight. He doesn't ever run a route. His job is to run straight. And I just sail the ball 70 yards, and he catches it and then does a little dance as he runs into the touchdown thing. And
it's the classic move you do in backyard football when you're a kid and you have one kid that actually has any athletic skill, and you're you go long, I'm just going to throw it over your shoulder.
100%. To the point that the commentators one game were I wonder if the other team players are I'm open too. Because I just kept throwing it to him, and I'm I should give it to the other guys too. So everybody's got really nice stats now. Except me. I think my completion average is not great, but that's just because go big or go home. And I will
Unleash the dragon, dude.
I will absolutely Hail Mary on the first play. I'll throw a 4 verticals on the second play. Third down, I'll run the ball with you to get closer to the line. 4th down, I'll either throw Adam running across the middle or Jeff running across. Jeff is the it's called fullback. I think he's the fullback. He'll run across the middle, and I'll just shoot it to him, and he'll get us a first down. Or I just hand it to you, and you just zip, and you either get a first down or a touchdown. One of the two.
Fast.
You are fast, and you can shed a block like a motherfucker. You be trucking motherfuckers out your way. And it's great.
Excuse me, sir. You're inconveniencing me. Heisman pose.
Yeah. I play Madden like I play Skyrim. I want a complete power fantasy. It's like I'm not playing for realism. And I think that's why my friends who are really good at Madden do not like to play me, because they cannot read what I'm about to do. Like, they have no idea what I'm about to throw at them, and it really throws them off. My buddy Travis...
Can't predict your strategy if you don't got no strategy.
100%. Like, oh yeah, schoolyard bullshit all day. Let's go. We're going to lateral this ball backwards 1,000 times. Like, yeah, that's just the way I play. And I used to love beating my friend Travis at Madden, because, like, he was the type, he played on simulation, all Madden. Like, he was so proud. He'd play online, and then I would beat the shit out of him because, like, on a play that I should obviously run it, I would chuck the ball downfield. And he'd be like, what the fuck?
Am I going to get fired for this?
We're playing hockey, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Get the ball in the basket? Yeah.
The old basketball hockey game.
Yeah, you know, that's a basketball. No, we're playing footky.
Footky.
Yeah.
Playing foot volley, which is like when you play soccer volleyball.
I did raise my backlog score at one other point. There was a sale on a bundle of basically the rest of the Lego games that I didn't have that are like based on things. And it was pretty much all the Marvel Lego games and a Lego The Hobbit. So yeah, now I have like Lego Marvel Superheroes 1 and 2 and Lego Marvel Avengers. I don't know what it is about the Lego games. They're just so charmingly fun to me. Yeah,
I mean, that's just kind of what they're about. They're like, hey, come into this world that you like and just have some low-stakes fun there.
And I really appreciate them for that, because there's sometimes, you know, especially the games that I like to play, they're very serious and they have some ridiculous stories to them. And
they should make Lego Elden Ring.
Oh my God, no. Bro, Lego Yakuza.
Actually, Lego Yakuza would actually work, for real.
Fucking Kiryu yank off his jacket, and then he's got his arms just fall because he ripped off his torso, and they have to put him back together, but he's got the tattoo on his back, and then he's ready to fight. That would be great.
Absolutely.
Like Majima's Lego head just being attached to random things, just turning around like, Kitty! Yes. This is something that needs to happen. My God. You can be Saejima. You're in a Lego prison. you have to break your way out by disassembling Lego bricks.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, dude. That would be great. That would be wonderful. And, you know, the obligatory, I've been playing WWE 2K25. That's a surprise to absolutely no one.
Yeah.
It's been good shit. And I have installed and waiting to go. I'm like, all right, I'm going to dedicate some free time to this at some point because I really like to. Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh, yeah.
I did get some of the DLC characters. So when John Cena turned heel, I went and got Peacemaker for Mortal Kombat 1 and immediately played a game as him and then did a fatality so I could watch John Cena kill somebody. And it was as glorious as you think. Like, especially when he blew a hole in the dude's head, and I'm pretty sure his response was, ew, gross. It's just wonderful. Oh, man. But yeah, there was a Nintendo Direct.
Yes.
The Switch 2 was announced.
Well, not just announced, but all the details and stuff came out for it.
Yeah, let me... the website I clicked on was just a link to buy one, and I don't want that. So, okay, here we go. Yeah, so there's a new Donkey Kong game, it seems like. I remember hearing...
it's a 3D game with a lot of like destructible terrain and stuff, which looks like that seems really fun. We haven't had like a lot of real destructible terrain games in a while, and I feel like that'd be a fun mechanic for Donkey Kong to play with.
Yeah, I mean, big, hulking, strong Donkey Kong being able to just bust some stuff.
Ripping his way through, the ground and through the walls. And
so what you're saying is they finally made Red Faction Gorilla.
Ooh! Hey! That's good! That is good! I really like that joke.
Thank you. Be here all week. Tip your veal. Try your waitress. Thank you, Jim Cornette, for that. I will always use that. So I have a list of some of the games. So we got a Mario Kart World.
It's kind of an open worldy Mario Kart. It looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. Lots of new little modes, like a knockout race mode where you have like checkpoints, and whoever doesn't, like the first 10 through this checkpoint go on, and if not, you're knocked out and stuff. So I guess it's kind of like the default race in F-Zero was, although as a multiplayer thing instead of just a single player game.
Yeah, it definitely it looked cool from the little clips that I've seen of it. I don't know if that's the game that would sell me on a Switch, But like, if I were to get a Switch that was bundled with that, I wouldn't be upset about it.
It is the one they're going to be pushing as the main pack-in game. So I figure it's probably, it's one of those games everyone's going to at least enjoy a little bit,
Yeah, I could see that. Kind of like Sony made the decision to package that not the newest Astrobot game, but that first Astrobot game with PS5s, where they're like, oh yeah, this game comes installed on your system, by the way, enjoy. And then it ended up being a badass game. Yeah. Hopefully this can be the same.
Yeah, and I mean, even as someone who, I'm not that big into Mario Kart, but when I bought my Switch, I bought the Mario Kart 8 edition too. Like, I don't even play that much Mario Kart. I feel like that's the game I've played the least out of all the games I paid full price for, essentially. But Mario Kart's always good to have. You can always get online and play it with your friends. People love Mario Kart, so. Yeah,
there was a night I was looking for my copy of Mario Kart and couldn't find it anywhere. And then it dawned on me, I gave it to Daphne for Christmas. Oh, yeah, because I didn't play it anymore. And I know she really liked Mario movie. So I was like, hey, Mario Racing.
That's a good
and
idea.
I became super cool in that moment. Like, Mario!
Yeah. You're the Mario King. You're the king of the Mushroom Kingdom. Let's see. Some of the other ones I thought were really interesting. I mean, obviously we're burying the lead that the main game third party that people are excited about is a game that seems like it's kind of spiritually picking up where Bloodborne left off.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's on this list. Like, I'm just kind of scrolling through them, and I was going to...
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, go ahead, and I'll just say anything I have anything commentary on. And hardware-wise, there's two things I'm really interested in hardware-wise, too. One, in handheld mode, the game actually gets 10, 12, or 120 FPS. It's going to be doing 120 FPS in handheld. I've literally never had a monitor that was more than 60 FPS in the first place. So if I got that system, handheld mode would be like smoother than any game I've ever played before.
Let me tell you, dude. And this is a good example of what I was talking about earlier with my monitors. HDR was locked to 60 hertz, so 60 frames per second. You couldn't do anything more than that. My screen wouldn't show anything more than that. Going back to this HDMI, it can go back to the full capacity of the 144 hertz of this monitor. There's a difference. Like there's a difference in smoothness. I mean, you know the difference between 30 and 60. Like there's a good difference. There's another difference between like 60 and 120. It starts getting less discernible, but it's noticeable.
Yeah, I believe it. It's kind of like, it was a big jump going from standard def to 720p and then going to 1080. It was a big difference, but not as big. I guess I can imagine it keeps on going down that road, like diminishing returns, but returns nonetheless. Yeah. But the other thing I thought was really cool about the Switch 2 hardware is the Joy-Cons can actually be laid like sideways down and you can use them like a mouse. So, like, Metroid Prime is going to have basically something kind of similar to mouse keyboard type controls, where you use one Joy-Con for movement and one for looking like a mouse.
I want to be an asshole for a second, and this is not against Nintendo. This is actually for Nintendo, so this is rare for me. I saw people on Twitter. I'm still going to call it Twitter. That were talking about the Switch 2, and they were like, that mouse thing's going to fuck up for a lot of people, man. When you play first-person shooters and stuff against other people, that mouse, if they get good with that, is going to fuck it up. And then other people were like, oh, so if I want to play a game and it requires me to do mouse mode, then I have to sit at a table to play it, blah, 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 blah. And can I just say to anyone that had really weird little complaints like that, go fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself. Like, those are then don't fucking play it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the games will still have gyro controls or fucking whatever.
Exactly. It's just like this for the first Switch. It's like, were there a couple games that you could only play in handheld mode? Yes. But like, so just don't play that game. End of story. Like, if you...
That's a lot of people are just super whiny about games. They're like, if it's not exactly for me, it shouldn't exist. It's like, fuck off, dude. Like,
and my whole
this is Nintendo.
My whole stance on the Switch 2 has been, I'm probably not going to get one because they haven't shown anything yet that's really like got me to be like, oh shit. But at the same time, I don't want it to fail. You know, or like some people are just like, I don't like this thing, so it should die. Nah, man, it's just out of my price range at the moment because it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, that is a little unfortunate. I mean, that's how the fact is going to be. But man, like, there's still, I feel like the most interesting thing to me about the whole announcement was Nintendo is really good at doing really arbitrary, stupid things wrong for no reason. And it shocked me how they had so many chances to stumble and do random Nintendo fuck-ups. And instead, they just seem to do everything really competently for this one. There are no glaring, huge problems.
Yeah, for sure. So the next
like,
announcement...
Even stuff like online play, like they've got like a kind of built-in like voice chat screen share type thing that they've even got hardware designed to work with it. So, you know, I'm actually kind of interested in trying that.
And I'm still going to be the harper of they need to create a Nintendo PC client. They need to come up with some sort of DRM, even if they use Denuvo. Who gives a shit? The games don't run at a rate that Denuvo would affect, in my opinion. And just like harvest they bought whatever that emulator was and shut it down. Harvest that info, make your own thing, and make Nintendo games available on PC, and Nintendo will print fucking money. Absolutely. From Nintendo people being like, oh, I can play my Nintendo games on my computer too, at maybe a higher frame rate and stuff because, reshade and things like that. I'll buy that game again. Like it would anyway.
I mean, they're definitely thinking about cross-portability to some extent too, because like there's the ability to share games back and forth between a Switch 1 and a Switch 2, and the idea of a virtual game disc and stuff like that. So like, I mean, maybe something like that's coming down the line. Probably not this generation, but who knows if they may be building towards something like that, because there is a little bit more of an idea of sharing the digital purchases in this generation. And it's going to extend back to the Switch 1 too. Like, you're going to be able to lend your games to people in your family group, the games that you bought as digital downloads, which I think is crazy cool. That's so much better than I expect Nintendo to do with online stuff.
Yeah, I think that that would be really, really cool. Even if like it was a system where like, okay, say I'll use Mario Kart World and you didn't own it and you wanted to play it. I could let you, if we were in a family thing, like borrow it. And while it's on your system, say I can't play it.
Yeah, that's basically what they're doing with the virtual cards. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say,
there's like a limit of how long you can. Yeah.
As long as they give the other person the right to revoke it.
Right.
Because, somebody could just take the game and then you're fucked.
I think they have a built-in maximum. Like after 14 days, the game automatically returns, kind of like a library book or something, and then you can
like a rental.
Back out again. Yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense then. So the next thing they announced was Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom would be being brought over to the Switch 2 to the surprise of no one.
Yeah, the Switch 2 version just seems like it's adding some navigation stuff too. I'm not super interested in the stuff they're changing for it.
This is one of the surprises to me is that Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition is coming to the Switch.
Yeah, they're getting some games that like they are like serious type games like that. Elden Ring is coming to Switch 2. There were a few other games that were just like, here's our serious boy games that are for serious gamers.
Now, here's the one that surprised me because I've had like Chapter 1 in my library for a long time. Mm-hmm. Deltarune, Chapters 1 through 4 coming out.
Yeah, there was a pretty solid amount of Deltarune new stuff they showed on this. And like, I haven't played Deltarune because I still haven't finished Undertale because I'm a buster. But
same.
From what people have told me, like the new stuff they showed from the later chapters, they're showing that they've got a bigger team working on this, that the animation looks a lot more advanced, that there's like a lot more stuff going on under the hood for this game, which is kind of cool. I'm like, I'm glad that, Toby's still keeping it going and that he's still planning on doing this thing where he sells the whole 7-chapter game for one price altogether.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Split Fiction is coming to the Switch 2, which is impressive because that's a new game that just came out for PC.
Yeah,
I'll be interested.
I want to play that one just because I really do want to support this whole narrative 2-player game thing that's been happening lately, like the two of us and things like that.
And only one person has to own the game.
That's sick, actually.
Which I think is nice.
That a lot.
And of course, this list that I'm looking at says every other Nintendo game, and then there's no descriptions of them. So we got Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. Which I believe is a remaster of a game. It's either the first Bravely Default or it's a game that never came out over here because I don't remember Flying Fairy being one. I
think it's the first game.
Okay. They're getting.
They definitely talked about it like it was like a back to the roots of the series or whatever.
Okay, that makes sense because they did Bravely Default.
I know why it's called Flying Fairy now, because the original game was called Final Fantasy Bravely Default, and they must have wanted the FF to stand for something different.
Yeah, that would make sense.
That's my best guess.
Their Switch 2's getting Civ 7.
Yep.
Fast Fusion, don't know what that is. Final Fantasy 7 Remake Integrate is coming over to the Switch 2.
Yeah, that was another of the surprise big boy games that are getting. And I'm like, hey, cool,
Fortnite. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that's not already on Switch.
Right. I couldn't tell you if it is or isn't, but it seems like I can't miss.
Now, is this a new F-Zero game? F-Zero GX?
GX was the GameCube one.
Oh! Then the NSO next to it means probably Nintendo Switch Online.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I saw where they were adding GameCube games, so that's cool. They're also adding Soul Calibur 2.
Soul Calibur. Yeah, so that's the one that had the console exclusive, so Link will be playable in that, which is kind of neat.
Nice. And
that was the one, I think it was Link on the GameCube. I want to say it was Heihachi on the PlayStation and Spawn on the Xbox or something weird like that.
I think you're right, because then one year they did where they were all Star Wars characters, because like one got Vader, one got Yoda.
Yeah, I think it was Yoda on the Nintendo. I think it was Vader on Xbox and Obi-Wan on the PlayStation, maybe?
I think Vader was on PlayStation because of PlayStation's whole black, sleek look.
Oh, yeah.
It might have been Obi-Wan that was on Xbox, though. I don't remember. Or it might have been the character from the those games.
Was it Darth Maul, maybe?
No.
Oh,
the Force Awakens or something like that. Hold on. Star Wars. The Force Unleashed, not the Force Awakens.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the Apprentice character, I think is what it's called. I think he's like the apprentice to Vader. Anyway.
The Apprentice. You're fired, dude.
You fired.
Hold on. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back.
So it looks like Wind Waker was also added for the Nintendo Switch Online thing, which I know Jeff will be thrilled about.
Yep.
So another game that they're getting that's a pretty big game, I'm surprised, is Hitman World of Assassination.
Yeah, that just seems like a strange fit for Nintendo, I guess. But,
I wonder if they're
cool.
I wonder if they're going to monetize it like they did on Steam. That game's kind of fucked up.
I have no idea how that works.
So there's like ways that you're supposed to, I don't know. There was a way I was supposed to get these DLC for free where I could play Hitman 1 and 2 inside of Hitman 3, which they then turned into Hitman World of Assassination. So it would just make it one long game. But I ended up having to buy some like DLC that I couldn't get anymore, that I had to like click a link to get to the page to be able to buy. It was some weird shit. So it kind of tainted it for me a little bit. And I think I ended up refunding that and just saying, fuck it. I'll just play them separately. But yeah, so Hogwarts Legacy, fantastic fucking game. It really is. Nobunaga's they fucked up. This says Nobubaga. Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. I remember those were really cool strategy games, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
it's Koei Tecmo. That's been around for forever. They've been around since at least the NES.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember it was like that and Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Yeah, like two of the big strategy games, and then like Kessen came along. Rune Factory Guardians of Ozma is coming to Switch 2, which that's also coming to PC. Hype for that.
Cool.
As you mentioned, Soul Calibur 2, Split Fiction, Street Fighter 6, Survival Kids, some Legend of Zelda games.
Yeah, there's a new Survival Kids game, which seems bizarre, because isn't that like a Game Boy Color game? Like, what happened here? Like, even when that came on, they started showing the trailer, I'm like, is this Survival Kid? Isn't that game like 30 years old?
Right, why couldn't they have made like a Legend of the River King? But the most important thing coming out on the Switch 2, in my humble opinion, Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, which is Yakuza 0 with more cutscenes and story and stuff added to it. And if there was one thing that was going to get me to buy a Switch 2, it would probably be to play Yakuza 0 Director's Cut if it doesn't come out for anything else.
Yeah.
Would be kind of sweet if they were just like, hey, people who own this on PC and console, today there's an update live that you now have the Director's Cut stuff. But we're not always that lucky. Not everyone is Hello Games.
Yeah, right? Thanks, Sean.
But yeah, I think I find it weird that entire thing I just read didn't mention the Donkey Kong game once. But
yeah. Or Kirby's Air Riders, which was also one of the main ones. That's what Sakurai is working on now.
And it didn't mention the Elden Ring game either. So please, by all means, sir, I know you wanted to talk about that. So talk about that and Kirby, because I don't know anything about either of them.
I don't know anything about Kirby's Air Ride. I know that they're making a sequel to it, Kirby's Air Riders, and I guess it's probably going to be a launch title. And the main thing I know is Masahiro Sakurai is directing, so he's back to his perfect little pink baby, his perfect pink child.
I will say the little free game that was a Kirby game that was available on Switch was one of the first games that I played for Switch, and I enjoyed that for what it was. I mean, it wasn't anything special, but it was a fun little dinky game to play with Kirby.
Yeah. Kirby's all over the place, man. He can be in mini games. He can be in full-ass adventures like Forgotten Land. And there's going to be a Forgotten Land expansion on the Switch too also. So a new story in that world. So that's going to be kind of cool.
Nice.
They've got a thing going where you can buy an upgrade from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2 version. So if you already own the game, you don't have to buy the whole thing over again if you wanted to get the new Switch 2 content. So that's kind of a neat idea. Although it does depend on how much it's going to cost before I say anything really effusive praising about it. Yeah. But conceptually, I like it.
Unfortunately, with things going on right now with tariffs and such, it could be quite pricey at the moment. But that'll figure itself out, I'm sure. We hope. But
yeah. Well, we'll see. We got a few months. But yeah, the main attraction as far as third-party games is called The Dusk Bloods, and it's a game that's very clearly FromSoft working in not Bloodborne, but pretty much Bloodborne type vibes. Like, it's got a very Victorian, light steampunk type energy. Although now there's vampires and jetpacks and dinosaurs.
It strikes me very odd that between that game and Elden Ring Night Rain that they're focusing on multiplayer right now.
Yeah, so this is also apparently going to be like an up to 8-player PvPvE thing, and I don't really know too much about that, but all I know is, like, From Software really hasn't fumbled the bag with this genre yet as far as the Souls-like games go.
For sure.
So I have a reason to suspect both of these new Souls-like games, Soulsborne extended universe type games, are going to be worth looking forward to. You know, I'm not about to be like, oh, they changed it and therefore it sucks now. I'm like, dude, all these games have been awesome. Let's see what they've got cooking. Yeah,
I would love to hop into like Night Rain with like you and Nate or you and Dane.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun.
I'm excited
if it's
to see
4-player. I think Night Rain is 3-player. Because if it was 4, I say we can go in there and kick that game's dick in the dirt. But
yeah, I think that I think they said it's going to be up to 8-player for the Dusk Bloods.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And you know me, I love vampires, so I'm immediately intrigued.
Even the name The Dusk Bloods sounds totally vampire-y, you know? Yeah, like, it sounds like the name of a TV... It sounds like the name of a TV show about vampires.
It does. A spin-off of The Vampire Diaries. First you had the originals. Now you have The Dusk Bloods. They're like a True Blood spin-off. Dusk Blood.
So been a lot of vampire shows now you mention it.
There have been. Buffy and the Dusk Bloods.
That's my favorite band, dude.
I was going to say it's a good like 50s horror punk band.
Yeah, they basically they write stuff that it would later sound like the Misfits was covering, but actually that's just what they sounded like.
Yeah. Oh man, so we played a game this week, my good sir.
That we did. It was a cute little game.
And Wikipedia failed me because when I looked up this game on Wikipedia, all I could find was a page about the entire series. Now, listeners, I'm sure you're wondering, because this is a PC gaming podcast, and you looked at this title and you're like, surely that game never came off our computer. You are correct. We are in the middle of playing a long game. And if you're new around here, when we're playing a long game, we play short games in the middle. Well, we also have this little poll that we hadn't utilized yet that is for retro games, because we do like to dive into those every now and then. And
so our official excuse is RetroArch runs on the PC and it's available on Steam.
Yes, sir. 100%. And since it's official, we decided that
sucks.
It would be a good time to bust out the last winner of the retro poll, and that was Legend of the River King for the Gameboy Color. So I found a site called thekingofgrabs.com. Shout out to him. I figured it was a site about fighting games, but Willie informed me it's about a guy who likes to take screen grabs. So.
But I mean, by informed, I mean, I just Googled it like 5 seconds after you said what it was and did some poking around the website because I'm a nosy little bitch.
But he has a description.
Like, it's not like I already knew who you were talking about. I'm not like the guy that has the internet memorized.
Oh man, you could have played it off. No one would have known. You could have been the guy that has the internet memorized.
No, because what if it turns out this guy sucks? We don't know.
I'm the king of grabbing by... Oh, no, it's not good.
No. Don't grab him by the catfish.
We played Legend of the River King. So he gives us a description. So shout out to thekingofgrabs.com.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Developed by Tosei Co. Limited and published by Victor Interactive Software in Japan and Natsume in North America and Europe. Legend of the River King is a JRPG that is based around the sport/pastime of fishing. It was initially released for the Game Boy in 1997, and the Game Boy Color version, which is Super Game Boy Enhanced, came out in 1999. There are two.
It's an interesting cartridge, by the way. This cartridge is can be played on the original Game Boy and is separately enhanced for both the Super Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. So, like, I think that's really neat. I think that weird sideways compatibility thing they had going on in that era of Nintendo stuff was really cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you can almost, like, and we can talk about this a little bit later, just by switching emulators, it completely changed the way the game looked. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was the Super Game Boy enhancement coming through on the one that I was playing on, or what. I don't know.
No, you got a different. You just had a different Game Boy Color emulator. They used a different palette than the default one because Super Game Boy would have given it some kind of border and would have looked. Now I'm a little annoyed that I didn't try on Super Game Boy also.
But there are 2 modes of play in this game. There is fishing and raising. In the former, you play as a young boy who must save his sister, which we will talk about that in a second. By catching fish in a local river, she asks you to catch a guardian fish, which will apparently help cure her. In the latter, you raise a fish in a tank in a Tamagotchi style game.
That's a very straight up way of playing. It is a little Tamagotchi. Yeah.
Yeah. I did not delve into that, though. I kept looking at egg and I'm like, what the fuck could that possibly be? That makes a lot of sense, though. That would just be like a little Tamagotchi that you could check on when you load the game up.
Yeah, it's got a little fish tank, and as you play the game, time passes in the fish tank too, and so the fish grows, and you can come back and feed it, clean the tank, decorate it, and stuff. Try to manage its hunger, its health, and its stress levels.
Gotcha. And it eventually evolves into anglerfish.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. No, you think you're joking? It actually does evolve into a different fish somehow.
Oh, well, I was making a Digimon joke.
I know you were making a Digimon joke. I know you thought you were making a Digimon joke, but no, that actually happens.
But I was actually speaking truth.
Yep. I didn't get far enough. I had like a clayfish or whatever it's called. It got to it hatched and it was 2 centimeters, and by the time I was done, it was like 7 centimeters. But I never it never changed species on me. So, but I did read enough to know that is something that happens.
So, what were your first impressions of this, my good sir?
You know how a lot of, like, if you're used to early RPGs, especially if you played a lot of them on, like, Super Nintendo, you're used to really just being able to mash the shit out of the A button, and it does basically what you want.
Yeah. The
very first thing I noticed about this game's controls is if you mash a button, it just beeps and gets mad at you.
Yep. 100%. This game's like, nope, take your time, motherfucker. This is a fishing game.
Yeah. It is not one of those games where the A button does everything. In fact, I'm pretty sure they just deliberately made it to where the buttons were as inconveniently located as possible half the time.
Yeah. Dude, I can't tell you how many times I went to go open a menu, but then I would pull my rod out to fish. But then there were times I went to go pull my rod out to fish, and I would pull up a menu. Or I would pull up the menu and then try to select something in the menu and hit the wrong button and close the menu. Like, oh, it was driving me crazy.
Or you would start casting indoors by accident because you were trying to hit the walk button, but you hit the cast button because you were already walking, and then...
Yep. You cannot fish here.
Yep, you cannot fish here. I wasn't trying to fish here. This is an inn. I was not trying to catch the innkeeper. I was trying to make sure that I had rice balls to eat when I left.
So, yeah, my first impression was like, oh, okay, this game looks charming. And then getting into it...
It has very cute, like, Pokemon-esque graphics. Like, the graphic style is very that kind of Game Boy 8-bit RPG type thing.
Yeah, 100% gave me flashbacks to playing, like, Pokemon Gold, for sure. First impressions roll right into what I said we touch on in a second. Because, we get the plot right in the... I mean, the game fucking starts, and you are a child standing in a living room next to your mother, and there's a little girl in bed. And... to sum up what happens, and I mean, I am not summing this up by much. I'm just putting it into layman's for us. It's, son.
Yeah, this is less the cliff notes and more as much as he remembers of the exact wording.
Exactly.
Like, it is this much talk. It is this much talk.
This is exactly Willie. She's like, son, your sister has an illness. You need to go out and catch the guardian fish to help her. Then it cuts to your sister sitting there, and I hear it. For some reason, I hear it as this in my head, brother. I am. Oh no! What does she say? I done forgot now.
She's like, I have illness or something.
She doesn't
like
say
that.
Like, she's like, I am. It's some terrible word that's not like. It's not. I am sick. It's like I'm going to perish or something. Like it's some really serious like thing. And then it just cuts back to your mom, and your mom's basically just tells you, yeah, your sister's gonna die. Get your shit together. Go out there in the world,
go fishing,
you fucking child, and go catch the guardian fish. And that's it. It is like 15 seconds.
Yep, I think that's generous if you're a slow reader.
Dude, I mean, even for games with little to no story standards, it is just like, here you go. Go figure everything out. I hope you have the booklet to read.
So it's like, on one hand, the translation isn't helping, but on the other hand, that is all the script that there is in the first place. So it's not like a great translation would have made any of this make sense. Like, that it is as bare bones as it gets.
Yeah, 100%. 1 second. I tried to
I was like,
Google
what are you doing?
Legend of the River King on my phone, and I typed in Legend of the Rover Kong.
Rover Kong.
And that brought up
the famous half dog, half gorilla.
I cannot find what I'm looking for. I wanted to just
try to find the opening sequence.
Yeah, I'm gonna truncate silence will fix this. Okay. Mother, listen carefully to me. You have to find the cure to Teryu's disease. Or to find the cure to Teryu's disease, we must catch the fish called the Guardian. However, we do not know where he lives, and we must look for him. Big brother, I am suffering. That's what it is.
Suffering, that was it.
Big brother, I am suffering. That's just how I hear it in my head as this little kid. Just, I am suffering. So pull yourself together. Please catch the Guardian for Teryu. Or Teruyo, excuse me. I understand, Mom. Leave it to me. Take this charm for your safety. So begins the quest for catching the Guardian. That's it.
Yep.
That's all the plot you get.
Also, if you're wondering about that charm that she gives you for your protection, you end up trading it off for a teacup. So I'm not exactly sure. It's like just a random part of a weird fetch quest that doesn't make any sense because I didn't finish it.
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
I guarantee that you trade the teacup for something else in the third place, and then it gets traded for something else, and you probably need that last thing in the last area to get to the Guardian Fish.
You are 100% right. You basically trade it up until you get the wind chime that you play to summon the Guardian Fish.
You summon the windfish?
It's the same thought I had. it's like you summon it. This reminds me a lot of that Zelda game on GameCube. I mean Game Boy. Was it Link's Awakening? Yes.
That was Link's Awakening, yes.
Yeah. I played that on a creamed spinach screen Game Boy.
Ah, delicious.
Yeah.
I played through a lot of it the last time I had a big power outage, and I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like,
it's a fun little game.
Only thing, juggling the inventory is a little bit of a pain in the ass, but it's also because it's got 2 buttons to deal with, so I get it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's surprisingly advanced over the first couple Zelda games. Like, it makes sense that one came when it did in the series. Like, it definitely feels more advanced than the NES ones.
Yeah. So there's not a whole ton for us to dive into this game, but there are a few different things. Right off the bat, it's not easy to figure, unless, like I stated in the beginning, I'm sure if you had the booklet that came with your game and you read it, you would have had more information than you and I did just jumping in trying to figure out how to catch fish.
Oh no, I played for like 5 minutes before I'm Googling the instruction manual, and I sent you a copy of the PDF as soon as I found it, because I'm like, we're not going to be able to finish without this.
Yeah. And
the PDF is not especially, the manual is not especially helpful either. Even with the manual, there's a lot of really basic stuff that is really, you have to just figure out on your own, including little things like why you're not hooking a fish.
Yeah, I had to, eventually there was a little quest that I had to catch a specific kind of fish. I ended up having to look it up on a walkthrough, and it was amazing to me. So you have to catch a rainbow trout at some point for a guy.
Right. And
the walkthrough said, okay, so there's a specific area you need to go that's like kind of like here, and they gave you like a description of where it was. They go, if you cast...
Yeah, it's upstream in the first area, basically.
Yeah, they're like, if you cast and you catch a normal trout, you've gone too far
to
east.
The left.
Yeah, if you catch a char, you've gone too far in the other direction. You need to be right in the middle. Yeah. And I'm like, that's so weird. That's so, that's so strange, but I kind of get it. But it makes me wonder if the shadows of the fish are actually different fish, or if once the quote-unquote battle initiates, if it decides based on what bait you're using and hook you're using, what fish you're trying to catch.
I am almost certain that the actual shadows of the fish actually are actual entities, that they really are objects that carry all that information with them. Because if you catch, there's some areas that have 2 fish blended together, for instance, and if you like hook all of the, like let's say there's an area with blowfish and trout, but blowfish only respond to the insect bait. If you hook all the blowfish first, all that'll be left will be the trout.
Okay.
So I think they really are what they look like, which is kind of neat for this genre.
I never successfully caught a blowfish.
You have to use a small hook.
Okay. Because they would take my bait and they would stop, and I would hit the reel button, and then they would just swim away with my bait.
I never got them to even stop unless I used a small hook.
Yeah.
Or wait, when you say stop, you mean it would hold still, but the moment you hit the hook, you hit the button, it would pull away the hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to use a small hook on. You had to use a small hook on those. You had to use a small hook on the goby, and it usually helps to use and usually the bullhead in the first area. Yeah, those all need the small hook.
Never caught a bullhead either, and that's probably my problem because I was always fishing with a medium or a large hook. I wanted them coins.
As far as I could tell, the large hook was never necessary as far as I got. Although you probably will need it towards the end of the game.
Probably later.
But like even when I did catch a fish that was more than 60 centimeters, which is the largest style in terms of selling the fish because you get more money for the size of it.
Yep.
If you catch a fish that's over 2 feet long or 60 centimeters, you get 80 coins for it, for instance. I still used a medium on that one.
Okay. Well, then...
but what I have noticed is that the smaller fish do seem to be less fighty. Like, they run away for less time at a time.
Yeah, I think the ones that gave me the most, I won't say issue, but most fight in the first area were the rainbow trouts and the giant trouts.
Yeah, the rainbow trout, because one, it seemed like a lot of the time it would run your line out past the limit before you could hook it.
Yeah.
And then two, even when you did hook it, they were a lot fightier than the other fish.
Fucking cutthroats were doing that to me, too.
Cutthroats were running the line out and losing my hook a lot of the time. I think those were the hardest fish to catch in the first area for me. And you have to catch at least one cutthroat to make the lunch for the raft master.
Yeah, and that's probably what took me the longest was because I kept having to go catch other fish to then go buy bait to go back and try to catch and sleep so I could then go try to catch more cutthroat. Or I would chum the water. But eventually I got one.
Yep.
But yeah, so... go ahead.
I was just thinking, I think chumming the water does the same thing as entering a building, too. I think doing either of those things just respawns all the fish. But I'm not actually certain, because it seemed like sometimes I would go in buildings and nothing seemed to change outside, even if I sold stuff and all that. So maybe chumming is somewhat necessary? I don't know. It felt like a lot of the guides said stuff with a sense of certainty that I felt like was actually them just guessing.
I honestly, I never really noticed a change until I would go and sleep in the inn.
Yeah.
And then
but I didn't like to do that because it seemed expensive, even though it's way less expensive than buying food for the same number of hit points.
Yeah. But that food did come in handy when I noticed that this fishing game has random battles with a weird, but kind of cool once I figured it out, fighting mechanic.
Again, this is one of those moments where if you flail at the keyboard, you are going to screw yourself over. I was actually 100%. When you sent me the screenshot of you winning the one mandatory predator fight in the game, I was shocked because I was 1,000% sure when we started recording the show that I was going to have to explain predator fights to you because I was 100% sure you were going to sit there and go A at the combat screen.
I did for a long time. And let me tell you, I won a lot of fights like that. But
it actually it worked against like spiders.
I feel like, why am I missing so much? Is there something I can get? So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening and you don't want to be like me, when you initiate a battle and you hit attack, it shows a little red fist that then begins to move if you just wait a second. And
this is not well explained in the manual, but the manual tells you that enemies have a critical hit area, which was enough for me to slow down and start paying attention to what was going on that screen.
So the fist will move like away from the enemy, on the enemy. And when it's on the enemy, you hit the OK button or the A button and you nail it with a full strength attack. Mm-hmm. And it does a variety of damage. I think like the highest I saw myself hit was like 22 damage.
Do you want to know how the damage calculation's done? Because it's pretty stupid.
I'm going to assume it's just the more experience you have and the higher HP that you have.
Yep, it is literally your experience points determines your max HP, and your current HP determines your damage output.
So it's like the more you're getting your ass kicked, the less. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, you're weakened, so it does make sense. You're incentivized to go heal or go eat or something.
But
it also makes it really hard to get out of battle if you're getting your ass kicked.
That's also why I kept 8 nagiri on me at all time.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Or they called it rice cake, but I mean that was an onigiri. Like that's
it was absolutely.
And it looked very delicious, even for a GameCube game. I was like, I want that right now. I know there's some sweet jam in the middle.
Dude, the one thing you definitely got to know about pixel art is one of the easiest things in the world apparently to draw is onigiri. So it's like in every Japanese game.
Yep.
And this time it was translated as rice cake or whatever instead of jelly donut.
Yeah, that's right. Jelly donut. Like that is absolutely onigiri. But yeah, so another thing this game did, other than just having random battles, which I found very interesting. And again, like you said, the scaling damage and stuff was odd, but it charmingly worked in a way.
Once you understand, I feel like this is one of those games that once you understand it, it actually is kind of cool. It's just, it does absolutely no favors trying to let you know how it works.
And if I would have been in charge of naming achievements, because I think the achievement I got for beating the bear was like a bare-handed brawl or something like that.
Yeah.
I would have called it, you went full Saijima. Because you had to fist fight a bear.
Yeah, so in this fishing game where you're trying to catch a magic fish to save your sister, at some point you have to do hand-to-hand combat against a brown bear in order to rescue a village from question mark, because it just says the bear is bothering people, and you punch it a couple times and it leaves forever.
Yeah, it's very, this game is very strange.
And even then, it's not like the village is all that saved, because then there's monkeys to fight, and they seem really rude.
Fuck those monkeys. I'm in a fight with a monkey. I punched it twice, and it stole one of my fish.
Yeah.
And I was like, you son of a bitch. I was about to go sell. I was on my way to go sell that. And then I'm like, well, when I beat it, do I get my fish back?
Island, the monkeys spawn on the island that's right next to the fish shop.
Bastards.
Yeah, I had a lynx steal a fish off of me, too, but I'm like, okay, you're a cat. That makes sense. Whatever.
Monkeys just steal being assholes.
Yeah.
Even though
That's
they probably
the
eat
monkey
fish
way.
too. So let's talk about that. Like, there are gear upgrades that you can get. There was a large rod that you could buy. It was the first upgrade for that, the no casting rod. That's as far as I got. I know you dabbled a little bit with the other rods.
Yeah, so there's 4 types of fishing rod in the game. There's a basic rod, which comes in like normal and large size, and that is literally just a stick with a bobber in the end, basically. Then there's the casting rod, which is actually kind of the same, except like I know it's supposed to be different, like it has a reel on it or whatever. It didn't seem mechanically any different, except the bobber would float further. It's
the casting rod, and it didn't cast as far as the normal rod, but it would let out and it would float farther out.
Yes, exactly. It was just, that's the only difference I noticed.
Wouldn't you call that a floating rod then instead of because I was thinking casting rod, oh, okay, I'm going to be able to cast further.
Yeah, you get the large casting rod, you're like expecting, I'm going to throw this thing right over the mountains over there, man. I'm going to score me a touchdown.
Nope.
Now, it goes like 3 blocks ahead of you.
Yeah.
I think the longest casting rod is the large old rod.
So strange.
Well, then I actually did get the fly fishing rod, which unlike the casting and plane rods, actually lets you reel back towards you after you cast the fly out. So you can overshoot and then pull back to where you want to go, and you can actually kind of keep it on a fish silhouette if you catch it in a certain drift.
That's nice instead of having to rely on the flow of the water.
Yep. And plus, because it's a fly and not live bait, you don't lose anything if you miss the fish.
And that's I wanted to get one of the things I was saving up for was the lure rod. Mm-hmm. So I could try those. I didn't get the lure. I did have the fly rod. I wanted to try the lure rod. We didn't finish the game. Both of us got to about the halfway point. We defeated the boss, essentially, of the second area out of 4, I believe. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, this is a game that I'll pick up from time to time just because it's a fun little game. But
yeah, it's a cute little game, and I do intend to probably go for retro achievement mastery of it. Which is also why the cool thing is one of the achievements or retro achievements is catch every fish in the game before you catch the guardian fish. So when I saw that, I'm like, cool. That means nobody's going to get mad at me if I don't beat this game because that's missable. And I'm not going to miss the achievement just to finish the podcast recording.
No, yeah. And especially with a game like this, dude, it's like there's nothing world breaking about this story. You got to go catch a fish to save your dying sister. That's what you get. One thing this game did that annoyed the shit out of me. This is like, now there were a few things that like bothered me, but once I got the mechanic down, I understood it more. There was one mechanic that I felt like was just there to punish the player. Can you guess what it was?
Rafting costing health.
Yes, motherfucker. Why?
Because a lot of time I wasn't rafting on purpose. I just stepped into the water on accident because it's a little hard to tell when you're on shore and when you're in the water.
Mm-hmm. Even in the version I was playing that was at a higher contrast, it was still like so I got really used to being able to just walk up to the water edge and it would stop me. And I was like, all right. And then I would cast. Once you get the raft, when you walk to the water edge, you just start rafting. Well, as you raft, it takes down your HP, is like your stamina. But I'm thinking to myself, like, what fucking stamina are you just swimming around in a raft? Anyway, it's just, that's the dumbest mechanic in the game, in my opinion. I can understand that if it was an arcade game and they were trying to get quarters out of you.
Right, but really all it's doing is making you go through your rice cakes faster.
Yeah. It's like, no, dude, I don't want to have to eat. Like, when I was going around in the lake area just because I had beaten the bear, so I was trying to just go around to see what I needed to do next. I used all of my rice. I had 8. That's the max you can carry. I used all of them rafting around, and I still died rafting.
Yep. Well, if this helps any, you don't use health if you're carried by the currents. You only use health steering.
Yeah, and what I should have done has been
But you do lose health if you try to steer into something you can't go through. So that's how I lost a lot of energy a lot of times. Just like accidentally, the guy that asks you for a stickler fish or whatever, like accidentally running into him a bunch of the game says, "You're exhausted." It's like, I had full health.
Yeah, they don't fuck around. It's like you move once and it takes down like 2 or 3 HP. Like it's a lot. Yeah. And what I should have done was gotten in the river to where I wanted to go as far as the current goes, and then held R2 because I have R2 set to fast forward.
Yeah.
Let me tell you though, that was a blessing and a curse playing this game because how many times because I would just tap it and it would just fast forward. Sometimes, actually a lot of the time, that was just enough time to fast forward for a fish to notice my bait, swim around it, take my bait and leave. I lost so much bait to just accidentally fast forwarding too far. Damn it! I should have just been patient, but that's just a me problem.
Yeah.
But no, the HP thing was definitely, that was my biggest qualm with the game, I'll call it. But the fishing itself wasn't bad. I mean, you see the fish shadows swimming in the water, you cast out, depending on the fish is going to be depending on what bait you can you use for it, which the bait was worms, insects, larvae, dough balls,
grubs, red larvae, frogs, and small fish.
Yes, thank you. I had a lot of luck with small fish, actually.
I felt like, at least in the first area, larva seemed like it catched everything. So
yeah,
larva. And if you get the fly, I did look up an FAQ to find this out, but if you get the fly fishing, the whetstone fly catches almost everything. Although not whatever it is that lives in the upper left of the second area. I never actually hooked that.
But yeah, man. Overall, like fun little game. Did you have any like fish that you got to where you felt like you were pretty good at catching them? Because I got that way with trout.
Yeah, I did feel like the trout seemed like one of the more reliable, like reasonable sized fish because they had enough fight in them that you didn't get bored with them, but they seemed like they were landable. They didn't run away with your bait the same way that Gila trout and rainbow trout did. Yeah,
there were some of those that you would hook them and you would just be like, they'd start going. You're like, oh, please just stop right before you get to the bottom of the screen. Because the reeling, we haven't really explained that yet, is basically...
Sea bass and black bass absolutely also in the second area absolutely love to just run with your lure.
So when you hook a fish, you cast out and your bobber's floating there. And if a fish notices it and is going to catch it, it makes a noise and starts swimming around your bobber. It swims around 3 times and your bobber drops underwater. You then have the same amount of time to hit the button to pop it, and it takes you to a little cutscene, which for a Game Boy I thought was pretty impressive. And
that's what I say. The fishing area looked nice. I liked it.
And it cuts to a little like underwater scene with some parallaxing, and it's the fish with your line in its mouth, and it's just swimming at a downward angle from the top right corner to the bottom left corner. And what you want and I did not figure this out for a while. It was until Willie told me this. I did not know this. The mechanic is you wait for the fish to swim until it stops swimming. And then you hit the A button and you start reeling it in. And you would be reeling it in and it would start slowly it would start slowing down. And it would curl its body like it was trying to turn around. And if you held onto the button there, it would take your bait and leave. So you had to let go and let the fish swim back some. And it was just a series of doing that until you pulled them to the top. Right. And you would catch the fish. But adversely, if the fish got all the way to the bottom, it would take your bait and leave.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Is there anything else really? Like, I can't think of, like, we've covered all the basics and that's really what this game was.
I mean, the thing is, this is ultimately a Game Boy Color game. It is an RPG for the Game Boy Color. It's not a very complicated fishing game and it's an extremely simple RPG.
Yeah. This is no Golden Sun fishing game.
Right.
So yeah, let's give it a little rate scheme, my good sir.
That being said, I've had mostly positive feelings about it. Like, it does a bad job of explaining itself, but once you kind of get to understand it, it is a pleasant little game.
Yeah, I mean, once I figured out the mechanics and stuff, I think I spent like a good 4 hours sitting there just playing it. Just catching fish.
Not getting too mad. Like, I forgot to save one of my entire sessions where I'd like spent about 30 minutes doing stuff, and I'm like, I'll just do it again. It was fine. I didn't dislike playing it. It wasn't like really taxing mentally, physically, or anything like that. It was just kind of nice, you know?
I feel like it's a really good handheld experience. Like, this is a good, like, pick up, play a little while, save it, and then like while you're on the bus or, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's definitely an important thing too. Is this is, it's a Game Boy Color game. When I first started playing, I was playing at my computer and I was getting really bored really fast. But one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take my headphones wireless, just lay in my bed, play from over there and just enjoy it. And I'm like, man, yeah, actually, this is the life.
Yeah. And I will say that I fooled around with RetroArch, or RetroArch. I refuse to call it RetroArch. RetroArch's cheats to see if they what it had for this game. Specifically, I was looking for an HP cheat because the rafting thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to at least see if I can see the end of this game. Maybe if I can raft without dying, then yeah. So it had a few different choices because RetroArch on there, if you go and look in the online updater, there is a one where it'll download cheats from its little database that it has. There are two different versions of the cheats. One that had a lot of options that I could not get any of them to work. And then there was one that had 3 options: infinite HP, infinite money, and infinite bait.
Lara Croft nude. Oh.
Those worked. The HP one worked. I couldn't get the bait one to work. But here's the kicker. And this reminded me of the good old days of using Game Sharks and things like that. Whenever you had that enabled, you would get unlimited HP. But you would walk into a building, and when you came back out, half the screen was glitched.
Hey, that is very classic.
And I was like, damn, I haven't seen that in a long ass time. And then I walked into the building and walked back out, and it was worse. And I was like, all right, so no cheats for this game.
Missing no got you.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. Oh man. So yeah, let's give it a little rate ski, man. My good sir.
This is a tough rating one because I don't know what I'm comparing it to exactly.
Well, we can start anew. This is the retro rating scale.
That is true. And I think not only is this a retro game, it's also specifically a handheld game. And I think that that's probably its own category in of itself too. So, like Game Boy games, like Game Boy and Game Boy Color games in particular, not Game Boy Advance games where they were more like Super Nintendo fully fleshed out games. But Game Boy and Game Boy Color games were mostly pretty simple scaled down games, like even simpler than most NES games. So I feel like that's definitely what I should be comparing it to. Nonetheless, I do still feel like this game is maybe a little too simple. Like, I almost wish it was either more serious about being a fishing game or more serious about being an RPG. It's a little too lightweight all around to give a very high score to. So I think I'm going to have to give it 6.5 spines out of a 10 spines pickleback.
I 100% agree, my good sir. I think it's a fun game. It's one that if I would have had it on Game Boy, I think I would have had a good time with it. And even now on my little retro handheld, I have a good time with it, just laying in bed, messing around with it and stuff. It is very simplistic though, like you said. The fishing in it is fun, but even that is kind of simple. But I feel like
it doesn't feel like it changes much throughout the course of the game. It's not like it's a very different thing fishing a different kind of fish. It's just a slightly different reeling mechanism.
Yeah, it's almost more so like a puzzle game, trying to figure out what bait you need for what fish and what hook and all that. It's just putting pieces together in that sense. But I would agree. I'm going to give it 6.5 trout out of 10 rainbow trout.
Trout, let it all out. See, because we listened to a lot of 80s music when playing this, because we found that underground 80s Soma FM station when we were playing Ultimate Fishing Simulator back in the day, and that has paid dividends. Not only did I listen to that station a good amount while playing this game and doing other stuff this last couple of weeks, like coding stuff, I've even put it on my phone, and now I'm using Soma FM when I'm like outside doing exercise. And I gotta say, throwing on underground 80s is a good one. I've actually been really getting into the bossa nova influence station lately. A lot of like just cool like Brazilian type beats. It's very very cool, very relaxing, very summery, springtimey, good feelings.
Very nice, very evil. That's what that reminded me of. Yeah, man.
I'm drinking the least spicy water.
Fucking what's his Soma FM is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just a free internet radio, and it's really good.
Apparently it's just like a publicly owned station out of San Francisco that has a bunch of little genre-based stations, and it's good stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's ad-free and just really chill. And even the app on mobile, it has in-app purchases, and so I was like a little trepidatious about downloading it. Turns out the purchase is just you can tip them if you want to tell them that they're doing a good job. That's it.
Nice.
It's not even like no ads, because there isn't any as far as I could tell.
I respect that. If I were to click that and see that, I might chuck them $5 if I had an extra $5 just to be like, hey, I appreciate you not putting ads on this.
Yeah, even the names of the donation tiers or something along the lines of "prove them wrong," where it's like, people say that ad-free radio isn't supportable or whatever, something like that. Hold on, I have the app out probably. Let's see, support. Yeah, "prove them wrong" is the $30 tier. Where it says they said we can never survive this way. But yeah, there's like nice set, give them 99 cents. The tunes are great, give them $3. Thanks for the love, etc.
Yeah,
it's cool of them, Because it's not intrusive. There's just a support tab you never have to click. It doesn't make it glow and flash at you or whatever.
And of all the ways that we found out about that, it was in a fishing game that had an integrated radio in it.
And that's why I wanted to bring it back home with the little 80s music joke, because I'm really happy that game brought us, some good tunes.
For sure, man. For sure.
And a canny move on the developers, too, who didn't have to create music for their game because they just found a nice station to implement.
So my next question for you, my good sir. We have a choice.
Okay.
I know you're probably going to want another short game because Octopath is relatively a long game.
Okay.
So, do we go with the short poll winner or do we go another retro game?
Can you PM me with what the current leaders are on that? Because I actually don't know. I think we tend to retire the winner poll, so I don't know who's.
Oh, I mean, I can just tell you. The next up on the short game poll was a game called Laser Disco Defenders.
Okay.
And the last winner of the retro gaming poll is Rayman 2: The Great Escape.
I feel like it is probably in our best interest to vary and not use the same source twice in a row. It is cool that we finally got around to the retro poll, though. We'll definitely need to keep Rayman in pocket for the next time. So I think we should go with the traditional short game poll this time.
All right, then. So our next game in 2 weeks will be Laser Disco Defenders.
What the hell is Laser Disco Defenders? I don't remember this poll at all.
That is a good question. Let me look it up. I don't know. It's a game.
I'm going to guess that I think I can think of a couple things I would assume is in that game. And I think there's going to be some disco and some lasers.
All right, so I actually have it on Steam, so I must have gotten it in a bundle. A self-inflicted bullet hell that combines retro sci-fi with the sounds and sights of the disco era.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it's a shmup in a way.
Okay.
I'm watching the video, but it looks like your projectiles bounce off the walls.
Oh.
So the self-inflicted bullet hell is true. Like you cause your own bullet hell.
That's fun. Okay. So you got to kind of be patient.
I am either going to love this game or I'm going to absolutely hate this game.
Or you're going to think it's okay. Sorry, Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. So, in 2 weeks, Laser Disco Defenders. Willie, you got anything you'd like to plug, my good sir? Besides Soma FM, because we already plugged them?
Yeah, I think that was kind of the big name drop I had for this one, because it's been really good for my stuff lately. I don't know. Go to the park.
All right. Go to the park. Go get a walk in nature. And if you, while you're doing that, you would do us a favor and go leave us a review over on iTunes or Spotify. It really helps us out in the algorithm. Give us a 5-star review over on Spotify and I'll read it out on the show. If you want to join the Discord, that's where all the cool shit happens. It's bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Type that in. It'll get you an invite in. You can come in, vote on the polls, which let me update you on real quick, since we were just talking about how we didn't know what was on them. The poll for the long game.
I was talking about that. I'm lost. I'm dumb.
The next long game poll. Next up for that one is Jurassic World Evolution. The last winner was Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty, but the poll currently up right now is Valkyria Chronicles, Grimoire, Heralds of the Winged Exemplar, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, or as because of Factory Sealed, I always call it Jedi Fallen Over.
Help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. I will say,
wow, that's a lot of biggins in there.
This poll is tied right now. Valkyria Chronicles and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 are tied. Now, normally in a tie, Willie, we remove our votes.
I haven't voted yet, I think.
You have voted for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3.
Oh, did I? Okay, well
so,
then.
If we remove our votes, it will still be tied because my vote's for Valkyria Chronicles. So
all right.
It's going to be interesting.
Well,
listeners, we'll leave it to you. Maybe somebody will campaign for one of the other games and neither of them will win. Who knows?
I'll pull out my deck of cards, shuffle it, and you can pick red and black, and then we'll just go that way.
There you go. That'll work. The short poll, the next up game, of course, is Laser Disco Defenders. We're playing that in 2 weeks.
Dude, bad news.
Oh my God, you pulled a joker. Yeah, see, that's exactly the odds we're working with right now. The last winner of the short game poll, which will be coming after Laser Disco Defenders, is the Turing Test.
Oh, wow.
which I think is going to be very interesting. And I can go ahead and call this poll now, which I get to do after the show anyway, and make a new one. We'll be joined by Dane on this episode because overwhelmingly Slay the Princess won the most, because I'm looking at it right now. There is no other game with 1 vote for Pumpkin Jack. All the other games have no votes. It's just Slay the Princess. So we'll be playing that coming up soon too. And then the retro poll, we just got Popful Mail, Good Boy Galaxy, which I guess we could play those if they come up, or we could just pick something else. New Adventure Island, or Spin Dizzy's World, New Adventure Island, The Legend of Valkyrie, and Tex Murphy Under a Killing Moon. And right now, Tex Murphy is winning that one. So it's a good old point.
Tex Murphy is that LucasArts or is that Sierra?
I believe it's Sierra.
Okay.
But same era.
Right.
I don't remember if it's the first Tex Murphy. That is the first Tex Murphy game. I don't remember if they had started the FMV stuff in the first one yet. But eventually, Tex Murphy has a bunch of FMV. And like, oh man, I can't wait till we start playing some older games that have just beautifully bad FMV scenes.
I'm very, very sorry about Shiffers. That is the most deleted episode we've ever had.
Oh man. So yeah, go check us out in the Discord, bit.ly/TSMP take two, bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all capital letters. Check out the website, kept up to date by Mr. Puzzles, bit.ly/The Steam Machine Podcast, capitalized phonetically. If you would like to donate to the show, which means a lot to us, patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. $1 a month gets you the episodes early, and you get all of the little banter in the beginning that's just for the Patreon people. And if you donate $10 or more, you can get your name, you get that plus your name read on each and every episode like these wonderful people. Nate Sir Cogsworth, the 7th of June-iper, Jeff, the original Expendable, Mr. Syllables, old Jeffy Lube, also he's a duck, Ariesoradam, shout out to his podcast, Spectre approved. Team Retrogue, go check him out over on YouTube. Mr. Puzzles, Dane himself, Chad the Mad Lad, no goddamn C in his last name, Shaffer, Flyin, Brian, Doran, Gray, the RPG, Wolverine, Logan, Joreid, and
the Dankest.
We appreciate you very, very much. And I don't promote this often, but since we're doing it, I figure I might as well. Because of the Dankest being a generous man, he donated at the $20 tier, which is he got to choose a game for us to play. And that is why we are playing Octopath Traveler 2. And if he has the means, he's welcome to join us on that episode. I feel like that would be fun. Everything else I'm going to plug, yada, yada, yada. Check out JRPG Report, bi-weekly JRPG news show that I do. Check out Grumpy Jeff's Pro Wrestling Power Hour. That is me and Dane. Dane's a new wrestling fan. I'm an old head wrestling fan. I'm showing him all of the goodness. Our next main event, Willie, you don't know this yet, I don't think.
Oh.
Our next main event is the trilogy of matches between one Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
So we got the very first Hell in a Cell match ever.
Oh, that's right.
Then we've got their other Hell in a Cell match that they had. And then we have Streak versus Career.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
And like those are like 3 of like the matches. So I'm throwing some heavy hitters at Dane this time.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you were to make like a Undertaker career retrospective, you'd have to have a couple of those in there at least.
Oh yeah, that Streak versus Career match is like thing of legend. That was one of those moments where it's like, why did that not? If it didn't close the show, whoever went after them, no one remembers.
Shawn Michaels has had some hella good WrestleMania moments.
Absolutely. So yeah, man.
I am of course thinking about the Ric Flair retirement match.
Dude, as soon as you said that, my brain went, I'm sorry. I love you. Kick!
Yeah.
Ric Flair crying before he even got super kicked. Like, man, yeah, that whole thing. Or my mind goes to SummerSlam.
True.
HBK and Hogan, where HBK just decided to go Mr. Perfect on everything that Hogan threw at him.
So, it was a kind of classic.
Speaking of something I saw that made my heart warm, in the new 2K game, Mr. Perfect oversells. So like,
nice.
If you whip him hard into the corner, he'll hit it and then do a front flip.
Nice.
Like, shit like that. I'm like, yes, that is incredible. I love it. But yeah, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get the show. Check my music out over on Bandcamp. Just search Now the Nightmare. Other than that, buddy, we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about some laser.
Check my music out. I'm on Spotify under the name Radiohead.
Yeah, go check him out, and also add my band Tragedy Idol to your playlist over there too. And I have Nile the Nightmares album, my hip hop album, up on Spotify now too. So all of that good stuff. Go check it out as well. But yeah, for sure, check out
with some real tonal whiplash between the first 2 songs on it.
Is there? I don't remember. Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure he did like
Yeah,
At least
goes
it
from-
starts off with like the happiest damn like Posy song, and then it goes right into Crack Fiend.
Oh no.
Or Dope Fiend, I mean.
Not quite, but yeah, Dope Fiend is on there on the same album
It's
as
like the third
there's
song.
some
It's like
happy
right
songs.
up there.
But no,
So I
I
remember I was
think
listening to it. I'm like, damn, that snapped quick.
it rolls from Precious Trove, which is that happy.
Yeah, that's the
intro
one I was
song.
thinking of. Yeah.
I think that rolls into These City Nights, but even that
Oh, I
song
think
is still
that- yeah.
a little more serious than Precious Trove is.
Yeah.
But yeah, wrestling. Speaking of, in that song, I say weaving in and out like that Bianca Belair braid because she's got the long braid. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, yeah, and definitely go check out Willie's band Radiohead if you haven't heard of him.
I'm just kidding. I'm in Muse.
He's in Wish Radiohead. He just didn't want to tell you that. All right. So now that we've alienated Muse fans, we'll be back in 2 weeks to talk about Laser Disco Defenders, and I'll probably talk about some disco music. So that'll be
I kind of
fun.
like Muse.
Yeah, Muse is all right.
Muse is fine. That is the official Steam Machine stance. Muse is okay. Capital letters.
But Primus sucks.